Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. So the community stream is actually still going on right now, but they made just like a bombshell announcement right at the beginning. So I just want to get this video out right away. Normally I'd be doing a community stream recap, but this is so hype, I just want to get this out. So we had a hint that there was going to be something exciting in this community stream, and Josh just announced that Core from Final Fantasy 15 is coming to the game as a global first exclusive character. A lot of people weren't expected this, and Josh in the video said that he had been commonly misquoted because it was kind of in the community understanding that Joshua had said we will no longer get global first exclusive characters. But what he actually said was that there just wouldn't be one for the 3rd anniversary. So long behold, we are getting a global first character, and that means in the future this is going to be on the table, which is really, really, really exciting. So they went over his kit in a lot of detail. So I just want to go through his kit with you guys and talk about the new character. So this isn't technically community stream recap because there is more info. It's actually live right now, still going, but I wanted to get this video out as fast as I could. So this is going to be more just talking about the global first character Core. They showed some video of him, and I did take some screenshots. One thing I noticed in the video was we saw these rainbow numbers, which was really, really cool, and the numbers are really big. So I'm going to talk about what those rainbow numbers mean in just a second here. So it's cool, like a very, very unique thing. So his play style is basically he's a linked attacker. So what his attacks do is he chooses one of your other party member to kind of link with, and basically he revolves around like counterattacking and just tons and tons of counterattacking, and it revolves around whether you attack, like with whether Core attacks, the linked character attacks, or if Core or the linked character get attacked. And if the boss does like an all attack, then it triggers twice for each character. It's insane. Like he looks like he can dish out a ton of damage. This guy to me is like kind of like a tank and like a DPS. Like he's a DPS tank. Like he's insane because one of his buffs like reduces brave damage by a lot. Like he's crazy. So yeah, and then what the rainbow letters mean, one of his effects is he can get this maximum brave damage. So my assumption is what this means is when he has this active, his brave damage will always be his max no matter what, and I'm assuming it just ignores defense, which sounds really, really broken if you ask me. So we're going to go into some more detail here. So they went in detail over his 15, his 35, and his EX ability. So his ability number 1, basically it grants the party brave, and it's just like a single target brave and HP attack, but then he selects an ally to give this Oath of Absolute Defense buff, okay, and we'll talk about that in a second. His 35 basically is an AoE attack. It gives himself a Crown's Guard Warrior buff, and then you can also choose an ally to give this Oath of Absolute Defense buff. Now, the Oath of Absolute Defense can only exist on one party member, so if you pick somebody else, it's going to take it off of the other one. Basically, think of this as choosing who he's linking with, right? So he's going to link with one of your buddies, okay? His EX ability is a 5-hit AoE Brave and full AoE HP attack, which with 165% overflow, which is insane. And then he gets the One of Lucis's 3 buff. Okay, so let's talk about these buffs. Now my head is kind of in the way of this one, but basically this is the One of Lucis's 3 buff right here. It pretty much does all the stuff on here. But the big thing is, so actually we can look at this side here, because like a lot of these are the same as this. So the One of Lucis's 3 buff, that goes on himself. So this is on Core. But the big thing is like brave damage minus 80% and prevents break from brave attacks. So literally if he has the One of Lucis's 3 buff, he literally cannot be broken for brave attacks, which seems really, really crazy to me. And then when you're linking with your buddy, they get this Oath of Absolute Defense, so they're getting everything you see here, which means that party members, and it reduces HP damage, right? So HP damage received down, brave damage down by a lot, can't be broken. Defense plus, like literally, they can't touch you. I don't see how they can touch you with this other than like literally the orb going off and auto killing you, right? Like it's crazy. And then his Crown's Guard Warrior buff, which he gets here on his 35. It's just an attack max brave buff, right? But yeah, pretty insane here, right? Okay, so then they went and talked about how the additionals and follow-ups work. So basically what happens is he will do a follow-up at the beginning of the turn if any of these 4 conditions are met. So basically if your linked buddy that has Oath of Absolute Defense on, when at the beginning of their turn before they act, he will do the counterattack. If Core himself has the Lucis 3 buff on himself, he will do a counterattack at the beginning of his turn. Or if Core or the linked buddy are targeted by an enemy while they have that buff, he will also do a follow-up. And the follow-up is a 3-hit AoE Brave plus split AoE HP attack with 150% overflow, and then it does a 30% Brave gain based on HP damage. Now, they did say some abilities won't trigger the follow-up, so you can't just spam your AA and get follow-ups. But if the enemy does an all attack and you have like Core and the linked buddy with that buff on, it'll actually trigger twice. So if it does an all attack, they'll both take it. Now, something interesting they showed in the video is that as long as the enemy is targeting someone, even if they're like paralyzed, it will still trigger the counterattack. So in the video, they showed Cloud paralyzing them, and then when the enemy took the turn, he did an all attack, and they got 2 counters because they both had the buff on. So it was pretty cool. Okay. Next, they went into depth on the LD. Just for having the LD equipped, he gets King's Power Within. You don't even have to use the LD attack. You just get this. And basically what it does is it goes up to 10 stacks. And it goes up a stack every time he attacks, and that includes the follow-up. So 10 seems like a lot of stacks, but because you're doing all the follow-ups and counters, basically, it's going to go up really, 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 really fast, right? And then once it has 10 stacks, you get Reaper's Gale, and that's what's going to give him that maximum Brave damage. So this does the maximum Brave damage the character can do, and you'll get those rainbow numbers. My assumption is that just completely ignores defense because it says maximum Brave damage. So that's pretty broken, I would say. That's pretty ridiculous, right? Because I would assume like when the enemies do that annoying thing where you only do 1 Brave damage, I think this maybe would override that. I'm not sure, but it seems pretty crazy to me, right? It also extends his buffs by a turn, and he gets instant turn rate so he can act again right away. What happens though is when you use this, it's going to reset back to 0. So you don't spam it, you have to build it up again. But the crazy thing is when you do the actual LD attack, you're going to do this big AoE splash attack with 210% overflow, but it immediately gives you 10 stacks. So what you could do is you could build up to this, use the maximum Brave damage, you get a free turn right after that, go into the LD, get 10 stacks again, and you get instant turn rate again, and you can spam it again. So you could do some really high damage turns with this. So it seems pretty busted to me. Yeah, he's crazy. And then also they talked about that they're going to have a limited time gem and costume bundle. I think they didn't really talk about this, but when they were showing the footage, there was a little notification that said that something was a weapon gloss. So I don't know if the samurai sword is a weapon gloss or if he's actually going to be carrying that, but I'm pretty sure I saw that as a weapon gloss. That might actually be a weapon gloss. I'm not sure. And then they're going to do enhancement chocobo panel missions for him as well. So basically that's it, but Core's dropping literally, they said on the 28th. So it's literally going to be like tomorrow, or it'll either be late night tomorrow or early morning on the 28th, depending on where you live, which is pretty crazy, pretty hype. So let me know if you're going to summon for him. I know I am, because Global First always hype and they're always really good. And he seems like he's a ridiculous like DPS tank. Like it just seems crazy what this guy can do. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.